Hey guys, welcome to another video. My name is Ian, I'm Ian the Reader, and today I have another video talking about my reading plans for 2022 for next year. And I'm really excited about it because in this video I'm going to be telling you guys the 12 series. I'm going to stop using my hands because it doesn't work out. I'm going to be telling you guys the 12 series that I am most looking forward to starting next year. So last week, I went ahead and posted the video talking about the series that I want to catch up on or finish next year. And in this video, I'm going to be talking about the series that I most want to begin next year. Now, I'm not saying I'll catch up on them. I'm not saying I'll read all the books that are published in the series, but these are the ones I would really like to start next year. Now, in addition to that disclaimer, I do want to say there are a lot of series that I'm really interested in reading. These are not all of the series I plan on picking up. There are some series that didn't make the top 12, but I really do anticipate picking up. There are also series of this list that I probably won't get to just because my reading tastes are really unpredictable. I'm very much a mood reader, and so we'll see what I actually get to next year, but just know these aren't all the series I'm planning on trying to get to. These are just the 12 that I'm most excited about. Alright, so before we get started, I did just want to say I'm going to divide this by genre when I'm talking about the books. Most of them are fantasy, so we're going to get through the other genres pretty quickly, and then we'll finish up with fantasy, but I did want to just talk about them by genre so we can kind of stick the books together. So without further ado, let's go ahead and jump into the books. First up, let's go ahead and talk about the mystery, thriller, crime fiction kind of series that I'm most interested in reading. First of those is The Girl with the Dragon Tattoo by Stieg Larsson. I believe the name of the series is like the Millennium Trilogy or like something like that. I mean, the hype for this series is unreal. It has sold so many copies. It is one of the most popular series in the world, and I've been wanting to read it for years, honestly. I've heard that it's kind of tough to stomach at some points, so I've kind of been just putting it off, but I think that it's finally time. I've even started it, you know, a handful of times. I think I've read the prologue for this thing like probably 5 times. I don't know. I think this is going to be the year, though. I have this book, I have the second book, and despite the fact that there's this ugly sticker on there that I can't take off because it's just going to get sticky and gross and be awful, I'm still excited about reading this, so hopefully this year. Next up is the Will Trent series by Karen Slaughter. This is the first book called Triptych, and I'm very excited about this. So I was in a Karen Slaughter daze for like the whole month of August and like some of September. I binged her, what were they called? The Grant County series. There's 6 books in that series, and I binged them like back to back to back to back. And it ended on a note that I have so many questions, I have so many thoughts, and luckily that was that series, but it's connected to the Will Trent series in that like some characters even pour over and things like that. And so I'm very interested in it, but I needed a little bit of a break because I binged all 6 of those so quickly that I wanted to step back from it a little bit, but I think it's time. I'm really excited about getting back into these. I think that her character work is really great, and her mysteries are really compelling. Her books are really gruesome, to be honest. Some of the crimes are just like gut-wrenching to the point that I had to like almost step away from one of her books that I was reading, Kiss Cut, the second book in the Grant County series. But she just does such a great job, and her books are really hard to put down, and so I'm very, very, very excited to get to this series. It'll probably happen pretty soon because I'm feeling the urge to get back into kind of like the procedural detective stories. I want more of that. Then the last book series in this genre that I wanted to discuss is The Power of the Dog by Dawn Winslow. Now, I cannot remember what the name of the series is. I know the second book is called The Cartel, and then the third and final book is called like The Border, maybe? But yeah, so this is a book series that revolves kind of around like the Mexican cartel and the war on drugs and things like that. And so it's technically like more crime fiction, not necessarily like a mystery thriller, but I've heard such stunning things about the series. I've heard the content can be kind of intense at times, but I've heard that it's just an unbelievable story, and so I'm very excited to get to this one next year. Dawn Winslow is an author I've been wanting to pick up some of his work for anyway, and this series is what he's most well known for, I believe, and so yes. Next up, we're going to go ahead and talk about the historical fiction series that I would like to start. Now, there were a handful of these that didn't make the cut as well, but the first series I did want to talk about is The Pillars of the Earth. I believe this is called the Kingsbridge series? Maybe? I don't know. But anyway, this is a series I've been wanting to start for a very, very long time. It has been on my like year TBR at least 2 years. I know it was on in 2020 and 2021. It may have been on there in 2019, I can't remember, but I keep not getting to it because this book is freaking humongous. However, I did draw it as one of the books for my first quarter of 2022's 5-star predictions, so I have to read it soon, and so I'm definitely going to be starting it. I'm so excited. This is a historical fiction series that was originally a trilogy, but he did just write a prequel for it. I believe it came out last year, and it revolves around the building of a cathedral. It's a hugely epic story, very ambitious, has so many different characters I've heard. I've heard nothing but good things about this book and this series, so I'm so excited. And then the only other historical fiction book to make the cut is The Shadow of the Wind. So this technically is historical fiction because it is set in the 1940s in Barcelona. However, it is also like very heavy on magical realism and things like that. The series itself, I believe, is called The Cemetery of Lost Books? Cemetery of Forgotten Books, that's what it's called. I've just heard this is an amazing and beautifully written story, and that it is for lovers of literature because it really revolves around books and things like that. It's a translated work from Spanish, I believe, and yeah, I just think it sounds super good. I haven't heard as much about the sequels, but this book in particular has gotten so much praise. I've seen so many amazing reviews, and so I'm very, very excited. In case you hadn't noticed, I'm very, very excited about all of these. Yeah, that's the point. Next up is one that I've heard classified as sci-fi or fantasy, but I believe it is more fantasy, so this will be leading into the other fantasy books, and that is Discworld by Terry Pratchett. So I've heard so much about this series, and honestly with this one, I really just want to figure out where I fall on like the Discworld spectrum in regard to my love for it, because I've heard people just praise it so much, and I've heard other people say it's just not for them, and it's just a series that seems so out there that I really just want to figure out my own opinions on this. This is the first published book in this series. I have heard that there are other starting points that people prefer in the series, but I kind of just want to start with this one since it was the original work, and it's the only one I have. So I'll probably start with this one, but if you feel really strongly that I should start with a different book for Discworld, please let me know in the comments and I will definitely check that book out. Next up is the Green Rider series, or maybe it's just called Green Rider. I don't remember, but it's by Kristen Britton. I've heard really good things about this series, especially from Fina Reads, who is hosting a read-along for this series starting in January. So if you're interested in this series, definitely go check out her channel. She's really great. She has a lot of amazing content, and she has this read-along plan. So yeah, now is the time to join her channel. But anyway, this is kind of like a more classic fantasy kind of series, although it is an ongoing series because I believe there are 7 books right now, and the 8th one will be the final one, but it hasn't come out yet because I think the 7th one just came out this year. But I really don't know a lot about this one, honestly, except that Fina really enjoys them, and I feel like I want to be a part of the read-along. So definitely going to be starting this. I will be reading this book in January, so I think it's like this woman is traveling through a forest and she comes across like a messenger with a message for the king, and for some reason he can't take the message, so she takes the message, and when she brings the message to the king, it kind of just changes her whole life and changes everything. I'm pretty sure that's what I remember this being about, but either way, I'm excited. I'm just excited to be part of a read-along, so yes. Okay, this next series is one I'm kind of ashamed of because I have tried to read the 5th season a couple times and it just hasn't stuck with me. I've enjoyed what I've read, but I haven't been able to like stick it through and read it. And I really do want to enjoy N.K. Jemisin's work. I think I will, and I just keep putting it off. So this is a kind of like apocalyptic fantasy series trilogy. I think it's called the Broken Earth Trilogy, and I believe it's primarily told in like 2nd person, which is kind of strange and a little bit challenging for me to get into, to be honest, but I have a lot of hope in this trilogy because I've heard so many good things about it, so I'm hoping that this is the year that I finally read this trilogy. Maybe. Next, we have The Dandelion Dynasty by Ken Liu. I've heard so many things about this book lately, and about this series. The 3rd book, I believe it's called The Veiled Throne, just came out this month, I think, and then the 4th book, I don't know if it's the last book, but it might be, is scheduled to come out next year, and so he's cranking these books out, but I've heard that this is a really great like political fantasy series, that it's very slow burning, very character driven, and that it's just incredible. I really don't know a ton about this series, except that I've heard, again, that it's very political, but I'm into that, so very hopeful about starting this one. And I really enjoy the covers on these as well. I think it's just really cool. Next up is another one that I'm really ashamed that I haven't read because I was supposed to read it this year with my family, but I didn't, and that is The Faithful and the Fallen series by John Gwynne. The first book being Malice. This is the 4th book, Wrath, because I only own Malice and Wrath at this time, and I lent out Malice to my brother and his wife so they could read it. And yeah, I love John Gwynne's writing. I read The Shadow of the Gods this year, and it was just like mind-blowingly good, and this series is supposed to be so amazing as well. I really meant to read this series this year, but I was reading Realm of the Elderling at the time when I tried to pick it up, and it just wasn't working for me reading two really dense fantasy series at the same time, so I put it off, meaning to come back to it sooner rather than later, and here we are, it's the end of the year, so 2022, hopefully. All right, second to last one, we have The Shadow of the Apt, which has been just all over BookTube like crazy. Library of Alexandria has been hosting a read-along for this series for the past few months, and I've just seen so many booktubers reading and reviewing these series, and so I have to figure out what it's about. I actually know very little about this book, except that there's like bugs, sort of like the sects of like the different armies or empires are like there's the Wasp Empire and things like that, and like depending upon which empire you're a part of, you have like different abilities and things like that. Yeah, like I said, I really don't know a lot about the series, but I enjoy the cover, I enjoy the hype around it because everybody's been loving it, and I really just want to see what I think about it, so we'll definitely be reading this one soon. And the last one is a series that this is the one I'm probably most excited about reading, to be honest, of all the series that I've talked about today. It's First Law by Joe Abercrombie, the first book being The Blade itself. I mean, I feel like I'm going to be starting something incredible, to be honest, and I'm trying not to hype it up too much because we all know that I fall victim to my own overhyping so often. But just the reviews that I've seen for these books, as well as Joe Abercrombie's latest trilogy in this series, I mean, it's just got me so excited, to be honest. Like, I really do have a good feeling about it. And, yeah, Lord Grimdark, take me away. Come on, man. Let's do this. But that's it. Like I said, there are so many other series that I am interested in reading. Like, maybe I'll pick up The Wheel of Time. I've even thought about trying to pick up Malazan or Malazan or however you say it, Book of the Fallen, but that series scares the crap out of me, to be honest. Like, both of those two, Wheel of Time and Malazan, scare me because they're so long and so dense. But we'll see. We'll see what happens. You know, there's so many series I want to read, and I'm such a mood reader. My emotions and what I want to read just changes like crazy. And so we'll see what I actually read, but these are the 12 that right now I am so excited about reading. If I had to pick 3 that I like will absolutely try this year, I would probably say First Law by Joe Abercrombie, Faithful and the Fallen by John Gwynne, and then obviously like The Pillars of the Earth by Ken Follett, because I have to read that for my 5-star predictions. But I want to read all of them. So thank you guys so much for watching. I hope that you enjoyed this video. Please let me know in the comments which series you guys are most excited to read in 2022 and which series you're most excited to see me read and talk about, because I know that a lot of these are so beloved and I really am just so excited to be a part of what everybody's talking about. So again, thank you so much for watching. Make sure to like, subscribe, hit that notification bell, and all that jazz so you don't miss any of my videos, because I post every Tuesday and Friday and sometimes other days because I want to. Thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you have a happy holiday season. Stay safe, stay warm, enjoy your family and friends. Thank you guys so much. See you in the next video. Bye.